previous job?
I worked for the Environmental Protection Agency in
what?
groundwater and drinking water protection.
Okay.
Prior to teaching, my undergrad is in food science, and I worked as a chemist for 5.5 years. Then after that, I worked in a bakery for 3 years. I managed a bakery. And then after that, I worked for 3 years as a database technician for an internet company. And after the crash of the internet, I went into teaching.
Okay.
I had taught off and on for years, essentially since I was in college myself as an undergrad. I started teaching labs for the physics department and had always enjoyed it. But you know, as you get older and you actually graduate and go out into the real world and get that first job, the lure of having that steady income is very attractive. Got married, had a kid. The stability is important, but as my daughter got older and I had a little bit more time to contemplate the job that I had, I thought, this is not necessarily what I want to do for the rest of my life. I'd like to give back. So I left that job and committed myself to teaching, and was, as I described earlier, was very fortunate.
UT3 made a huge difference in my changing careers from engineering to education. I don't know if I could have done it without them.
Teaching is my third career. I was in the restaurant business early on, and then I was a legal secretary for 15 years. When my office downsized, I had the choice to continue being a legal secretary or then to do something that I had always wanted to do in my life. So I thought that I would go into teaching because I worked with children through most of my own children's lives, and I'd worked with children a lot, so I decided I wanted to go into teaching and to give back to my community that way.
Without UT3, I don't think I could have become a teacher. The grant money that was provided enabled me to quit my job altogether. I was working as a full-time engineer and complete my student teaching obligation, which is paying tuition and not having any income. And that lasts 3 months at least. So without that grant money, I don't think I could have made the transition to becoming a teacher.
Oh, UT3 was a wonderful program at the University of Toledo. One, they gave me a lot of support while I went back to school, and they encouraged me, they helped me when I had difficulties with classes. They gave me encouragement, which was really valuable. The people at the UT3 program helped keep me on track, answered questions that I had that perhaps I couldn't get one place or another. They were very helpful, just giving me a lot of support. And of course, the scholarship money made it possible for me to go back to school and to stop working so I could finish my degree.
I worked with the TUMSA grant, and we taught math and science to Rogers, Bowser, and Start kids that came to the university for a semester, Monday through Thursday. And that was a lot of fun, and I learned a lot, because prior to teaching, or prior to starting my master's, I'd only taught in the private school. And so I grew up in private schools, I taught in the private school, so I didn't really have a diversity.
Well, UT3 supplemented my educational experiences outside of the classroom by the Cultivating Urban Teacher series, which were informal sessions where we could learn about different bits and pieces of teaching in an urban school setting in a very informal way, so we could get some real life experience from those people who had been in the field already. That was very valuable.
Well, they provided me with the Cultivating Urban Teachers series, bringing in speakers from various backgrounds that have real practical knowledge in their when it comes to educating urban students. A traditional classroom teacher education program is pretty much, your methods class and some, your practical classes, student teaching and the methods experience. You never really have an experience where you can sit down and talk with another urban teacher and get a feel for what they go through day to day.
One of the benefits of the UT3 program and all the support that you get from the College of Education is the things like the CUT series, where you actually have an opportunity to meet and hear from teachers in an urban environment. UT has done a really good job of just giving us opportunities to meet with other people who are doing what we're doing, making a point of placing us in an urban school system as part of our methods teaching. So I'm not sure that I could ask for too much more between what UT was able to do for me while I was actually a student there, and then the networking that occurs as part of that whole process. Again, because UT's got that nice relationship with TPS, those of us who come through the program are well positioned to get a job in an urban environment if that's what we're after. So I really appreciate that.
Well, I kind of always knew that I was going to be a teacher or wanted to be a teacher, but after the internet crash, and all of the greed, and I just got fed up with the corporate lifestyle and switched to teaching. And I just think it's an area of great need. And unfortunately, I think in this country we've kind of abandoned our urban schools. And so I saw the UT3 program and I thought this is a perfect opportunity to not only learn about teaching in the urban setting and getting experience teaching, the benefit to me was huge.
Well, I grew up and went to Toledo schools, and I always got a good education there. And I wanted to be an urban teacher because that's where the need is great. Teachers have a larger turnover in the urban schools, and I wanted to have a rewarding career that was fulfilling and that I knew I was going to make a difference in the lives of children and students who really needed that extra push.
I'm a product of an urban environment. I graduated from high school in Dayton, so being at Toledo Public Schools is reminiscent of home, the way that I grew up, and it's an opportunity to give back. I never felt like going to high school in an urban environment somehow made it more challenging for me to learn. I believe that you can get a good education no matter where you are, and I want to be part of the process that helps students in an environment like this get that good education so they can go on and do whatever it is they want to do.
Well, what I liked about the UT3 program was they had several, at least it seemed every other week, a guest speaker to come in who had taught in urban settings or had experience in urban settings. They just opened up opportunities for us to learn, not only going into other classrooms or other schools, but to bring in experts to teach us how to function well in an urban school.
I appreciate the relationship that UT has with TPS because it put those of us who are in the UT3 program on TPS's radar in terms of potential hires.
TPS coming in to give pointers on how to interview or what kind of jobs are available. You have people like me coming in to answer questions that people who are thinking about becoming teachers have. You have other experienced urban teachers coming in to talk about particular situations in the urban classroom, and none of these things really happen in your traditional teacher education program. I
had wonderful professors at the University of Toledo. They were very supportive. They really also encouraged me, not only at the College of Ed, but the science professors I had for chemistry, biology, and physics. They were all very supportive, and I really enjoyed my experience at the University of Toledo.
2 reasons I would go with UT3. One is the money. They make that economic burden a lot easier, especially for someone like me who's been out in the world a few years. The second thing is the Cultivating Urban Teachers series, puts you in front of real teachers who, do this for a living every day. You can ask them whatever you want, and they give you real answers. They give you real techniques. They give you just a look into the reality of the situation.
It was an opportunity that I couldn't pass up.
Dream boldly.